Up to 400,000 acres may not be in production next year on the west side of the San Joaquin Valley due to zero water deliveries. In federal water districts, it's because of the Endangered Species Act protecting the 2-inch-long Delta smelt. A devastating 800,000 acre-feet of water went to the ocean to protect the smelt, and compounding this year's problem was little rain after the first of the year, all of which caused reservoirs to be at record low levels. It will cause thousands of layoffs for Latino farm workers. Guillermo Gutierrez is a ranch foreman for Hammond's Ranch, a 5-generation family operation with about 6,000 acres near Fireball in western Fresno County. He noted that constant reduction of water deliveries to his operation is hurting, but the pain is going to go further than the ranch he works on.
Everybody's going to be in problems, I think, in the state of California, because a lot of money comes from the farming business. Even if we don't grow our food right here in California, we're gonna have to bring food from some vegetables and from some other country. Some other countries don't have the regulations that we have in California to grow healthy food, healthy vegetables, and we don't know what we're going to be eating. So it's not just California. California provides a lot of food for USA. And if we're not going to provide it, that food needs to come from somewhere else. I think it's going to be a big impact, not just on California, I think everywhere.
Jesus Cuevas heads up tomato production for Wolf Farming, a diversified family operation near Huron. He said regulations are important, especially when it comes to the use of registered crop protection products.
We have regulations on Fresno County we stand by on our pesticides, fertilizer regulations, and everything. And I don't think those other countries, they do what we do to grow a good crop. And I know because I do it every year. I have to fill out a pesticide report.
Joe Allen and his brother Todd are third-generation farmers near Fireball. Both of the brothers rely on row crops such as tomatoes, cotton, and melons for their income. And Joel said the last few years have been a major challenge.
I've been farming for approximately 26 years. I've seen the very good, I've seen the very bad, the very ugly, and there's a lot of things that are out of control, insects, weather patterns, but this regulatory drought is something that I can't come to grips with. The last 4 years, I'm not going to lie, I've been in a situation that I didn't know if I was ever going to get out of that situation. Given the fact that, we're looking at a 10% water allocation, 20, that's not enough to sustain my farm. I don't have the means to go out and pay $1,000 for an acre foot of water. I just can't compete with that.
Allen noted that there's been many sleepless nights.
I lie awake thinking about these things every night. I'm not going to lie, it's compromised my health.
He said it's also affected the relationship he has with his banker and others that he does business with.
They all ask the same question: how are you going to do this? How are you going to make it work on 20% water?
And now he and other farmers have to look at their banker and say there may not be any water for this coming season. Allen really doesn't know what the answer is going to be.
I don't know. I wish I had an answer for that. I wish I could, convince somebody to say, hey, man, this is what we're doing here is ludicrous. We can't continue to keep going down the same path.
Allen noted what is sure to be felt with a zero water delivery next year.
This is a big, devastating, potentially disastrous situation, a scenario that I don't think anybody wants to see. And if people would just open their eyes and realize that, the backbone of this whole economy is agriculture. And once that's compromised, everything else is compromised.
That's Joel Allen, a farmer on the west side of San Joaquin Valley near Fireball. You're listening to a series on how water policies are impacting farm workers in the federal water districts. I'm Patrick Kavanaugh.
For decades, farm workers have crossed the border into California for better work. There were plenty of opportunities for everyone to get a good job with much better pay than in their home countries. Times have been good, but lately there have been many major challenges with reduced water allocations in federal water districts in California's central San Joaquin Valley. Because of the Endangered Species Act's protection over the Delta smelt, at critical times pumps in the Delta may not be turned on to move water south to urban areas and farms. Unless California receives more than average rain and snow this winter, there may be no water deliveries in 2014. This has a major impact on farmers and their employees who came to work in California many years ago. Raul Enriquez came from Mexico in 1970 when he was 15 years old. He has been working since in California's agricultural fields. In 1997, Enriquez finally worked his way up to manage the 4,800 acres of permanent crops, including including almonds, pistachios, and asparagus for Harris Farms, a 14,000-acre diversified family operation near Coalinga in Fresno County. Enriquez and thousands of other farm employees are frustrated that the water problem has lasted so long.
It's a long ways I've been through here, but it's like American dream for me, I came for that. I am frustrated, especially for the politicians right now. They know already since 2009 that we have a problem with water, and they still not, I don't see anything that they do. I mean, it's just frustrating for us to see that our government is not doing nothing about it. The economy in California is going to go down because the farming is the base of the nation. And I hope so, the politicians can hear us and see if they can do something about it.
William Bordeaux is Executive Vice President of Harris Farms. For the diversified agricultural industry in the Central Valley, there is real frustration that all the pain has been inflicted over flawed science. Bordeaux noted that there has to be a way to make both sides happy.
It's very difficult because it affects people, real people, and when there's uncertainty in people's future, there's a fear, and it's no fun to be dealing with uncertainty, especially when it has to do with your life and your job and how you provide for your family. And so it's real. It's impacting people, and these people are hardworking people that want to work, and we have jobs for them if we only had water. I do know that the biological opinion has been determined to be arbitrary and capricious, and so we're operating under a biological opinion that's been found by the courts to be the science to be flawed. And so this allocation of 0 is based on flawed science. And so how do you sit there and tell people that we don't have jobs for you because someone's using science that isn't even representative of reality? It's very difficult to carry that message. It's painful. We can coexist. We are environmentalists. We tend the soil. We care about everything on the farm. I think we share that passion for preserving the environment, but at the same time, we understand that we are part of that equation and there needs to be some balance.
Raul Enriquez comments.
Something have to happen soon because we cannot continue like this. I mean, I don't know if we can survive this year with the 0 water.
This is part of a series on how the lack of water deliveries into federal water districts is impacting farm workers in Central California's prime farmland. I'm Lori Green. Possible 0 water allocation in 2014 in Central California's federal water districts worries farmers and threatens the area's economy. This is due to regulations that restrict water movement through the C.W. Bill Jones pumping plant in Tracy, California, because of the protection of certain fish species such as the Delta smelt and salmon. The plan for 0 water is causing up to 400,000 farm acres not being planted. So widespread layoffs are already putting thousands of Latino farm employees into the unemployment and food lines. Ishmael Reyes works for Harris Farms near Coalinga in western Fresno County. He came to the Central Valley by way of Texas in 1966 when he was 8 years old.
In 1971, I dropped out of school to help my dad and the family. In 1990, I lost my job for the Telesis in Fargo because of the water situation. And they closed down the farm, so I had to look for a job, and I ended up here at Harris Farms. And I've been here since May 4th of 1992.
He got married, and he and his wife have 4 children.
My oldest and my youngest daughter, they have a bachelor's degree in biochemistry out of UCLA. And then I have a son in Fresno State. He's going for mathematics, he's going to be a math teacher. And then my other daughter, she went to college for business, and she works out of Visalia.
Reyes works a demanding job as the irrigation foreman for Harris Farms' 14,000 acres of crops. Without water, due to the Endangered Species Act, his job would be at risk.
You're not sure if you're going to have a job or if you're going to have a future. I cannot see the amounts of water flowing into the ocean when they can supply us with water. It's like, I feel betrayed.
Reyes noted that farmers are true environmentalists.
Environmentalists care about nature. Well, so do we. We're using wells here that is not very productive to the land. It's not very good it poisons the ground. We care. That's why we want good water to run through our crops. Yet we're not getting them. Why? Because we don't need the food. We're importing it from another country. People say, well, we could get all the food we want from another country. Well, what are we going to do? We can't get it from the other country.
Ishmael Reyes is talking about food insecurity. If we are talking about importing most of our food from foreign countries, America could be at risk because California produces the majority of nuts, fruits, and vegetables in the nation.
You know, the saddest part of what I've seen of all this ordeal was one time when I went to the food lines a couple of years ago. And as one lady at the line said, I'm out of work, I'm at the food line, and the food that I'm going to eat is from China. And that's sad because what are we doing to ourselves?
A zero water allocation would affect so many communities.
Towns like Huron, Coalinga, Kerman, even Fresno, Hanford, Los Banos, they take a tremendous impact because farmers around that area depend on Westland's water. And if there are no jobs, people are going to go away. And if they stay here, they're going to be the ones that are deep-rooted with families like myself, that they're probably stuck because they're going to school and they're going to college. They're going to end up in welfare. When welfare kicks in, the economy goes down because you're limited to what you can spend and you're not a free person at all. Plus, the limitation of what you can buy affects all the businesses around all the cities that I mentioned. And it goes further than that. It goes to trucking, transporting. It goes to many things. All that is going to be affected. It's not just here in the valley. It goes a lot further than that.
This is part of a series on how water policies are impacting farm workers in federal water districts. This is Lori Green.
With a possible zero water allocation in federal water districts across 2.5 million acres of farmland in the central San Joaquin Valley, there will be hardship across the wide area of Central California farm communities. Food lines will again be set up this winter and throughout next year to help thousands of Latino farm employees who are out of work and ironically out of food, when most of their work days have been devoted to harvesting nutritious food for the nation. And they are always first in the unemployment line when water allocations are reduced. This is a tragic situation, collateral damage caused by the Endangered Species Act. William Bordeaux is Executive Vice President of Harris Farms near Coalinga in western Fresno County. The operation farms 9,000 acres of row crops, most of which will not be planted this upcoming season, and 5,000 acres of permanent crops such as almonds and pistachios, which rely on sinking groundwater supplies of poor quality.
As a former city council member in the city of Coalinga, during our last man-made water crisis, our local area was devastated. In some of the communities, unemployment skyrocketed, much greater than any of the unemployment as a result of the financial crisis. And so how does that impact people? From what I understand, $1 spent on the farm translates into $7 spent in town. And so the local governments, the local schools, they're all impacted. And so it's everybody. And so we're all in this together. And so we need to realize that it's a human tragedy of the unintended consequences of misguided water policies.
And Sean Coburn is another diversified farmer on the west side of the central San Joaquin Valley. He noted the reality of the pumping restrictions.
The smelt pumping restrictions are in place from January till June. Then the month of July, you can pump unrestricted. And then the salmon restrictions kick in August till the end of the year. So effectively, you have 1 month out of the year, which is in the middle of the summer, July, that you can pump. So no matter what happens with the hydrology, they'll never be able to effectively deliver water as they have delivered pre-2007 court decision, where only 1 year they didn't deliver 100% of their deliveries. It'll never happen again, ever. The west side will be in this water situation, in and out, every year from now on for the foreseeable future. If you can't operate the system the way that it was designed, this is a perpetual water problem that won't be fixed until we can run the system as it was designed.
Meanwhile, layoffs continue, says Jesus Cuevas, who oversees the cannery tomato acreage for wolf farming near Huron in Fresno County.
Oh, yeah, I have some people that have been with me for over 15 years, and now we had to lay them off. A lot of newcomers, and we try to keep most all the people with family, try to keep those, going. They hope someday, we might get some water and keep farming everything again.
And there are many others, notes Cuevas, and some are coming over to the wolf operations looking for work.
I mean, we're in the same situation. We don't have the water. We're not going to be able to hire any more people. We'd be lucky if we can keep some of the people in here, if we don't have to lay them off, which we are right now.
This has been a comprehensive series on how the Endangered Species Act is impacting the lives of Latino farm employees working for farms in the federal water districts in the central San Joaquin Valley of California, mainly in Fresno County, the top county in agricultural production. The entire series can be heard on a blog called California Ag Today. Just search online for California Ag Today. I'm Patrick Kavanaugh.